So hello everyone, this is Akash. Welcomes you all into the 7th episode of my LinkedIn initiative entitled as this VLSIpedia. So today we're going to discuss all about this delays. So delays plays very important and the crucial role into every VLSI design as it determines the speed and the performance of the design. So let's start. So first of all, we'll discuss what do we mean by a delay. So if we go with this conventional book diagram, we can say that the delay it is the amount of the time which starts when this particular input to a logic gate becomes stable and valid to change to the time that of the output of that particular logic gate is stable and valid to change. So at the first instance, I know that you will get nothing. So I will just elaborate into a very simpler way. So we all know about this particular NAND gate. So in the digital circuit, we directly go and draw this particular AND gate followed by the bubble and the NAND gate will be there. If we go into the physical designing and what actual NAND gate, it's a 2 PMOS in the parallel combination followed by the 2 NMOS into the series combination, and we'll take the output, and this is particular actual NAND gate, and there will be the inputs and the outputs. So if we apply an input this particular NAND gate, suppose a logic 1 or the logic 0, then the circuit will consume some time to get a stable output. So the processing time of this particular circuit will decide this particular output will be either logic 0 or the logic 1. For sure this particular processing time of this particular circuit will be very small in the order of the picoseconds or the nanosecond, but the circuit will take some time from after getting the input to process and to give the output. So this particular entire process is called the delay of this circuit. In the simpler words, we can say that a delay it is the time required for the circuit to produce a stable output from the stable input. It's a very simpler definition. So types of the delays. So majority of the all peoples are heard about this particular 3 types of delay, like maximum propagation or the clock delay, setup time and the hold time. But as a VLSI designer, we all must know the 6 kinds of the delays. First is the critical path delay, second minimum or the contamination delay, setup time or the hold time, skew time, and this maximum propagation or the clock delay. And the maximum clock frequency, it is the inverse of this maximum propagation or the clock delay. And this particular clock delay, it is a collective phenomenon of this particular 5 delays. How we're going to discuss in the later part of this particular video. So first, that is the critical path delay, TC, called as a TC. So I'm showing you this circuit here. It's a AND gate followed with the OR gate and this AND gate. So suppose this AND gate will cause a delay of this 10 nanosecond, and this again same for this 10 nanoseconds, and the OR gate will consume say 15 nanoseconds. Why? Because we all know this particular AND gate can be designed with 2 NAND gates, whereas the OR gate will design with 3 NAND gates. So more number of the NAND gates, it will cause a more delay. So consider 10, 10 and 15. So the critical path, it is the longest path. So we call it the longest path delay. So the longest path in the circuit is this AND gate, then OR gate, and again AND gate. So a critical path delay, it is a delay caused due to the longest path into the circuit. So this 10, this 15 and this 10. So entire delay of this circuit will be 35 nanoseconds. So this is particular called as a critical path delay, and the converse thing is the shortest path delay. So basically we can see the shortest path in the circuit output is this short, this AND gate and output. So basically if we toggle this input from 1 to 0, then we all know that particular AND gate, it can be number of the inputs. If any input is 0 or the logic 0, then the output will be the 0 no matter other states of the inputs. So if this logic is 0, then output will be in 10 nanoseconds of the delay due to this particular AND gate. So the shortest path delay will be this particular 10 nanosecond, whereas the critical path delay will be 35 nanoseconds. So this is the concept of this critical path delay. Nextly, contamination delay. So basically for this, I'll go back again here. Yeah. So we all know that the clock input, it is the square wave toggling from the 0 to 1. But in conventionally, we directly show it is a logic 0 to again logic 1. it will be logic 1, and again within 0 time it will be logic 0. But practically it's not possible. No matter how fast the circuit is, it will cause a small amount of this time to rise from this logic 0 to 1 and to fall from this logic 1 to logic 0. So basically the time required for this clock to rise from logic 0 to logic 1, it is a rise time. And conversely, a clock duration or the time required for this clock to fall from this particular logic 1 to logic 0, it is the fall time. So coming to the main point, yeah. So contamination delay, it is here. It is the particular delay caused between this particular invalid inputs as well as invalid output. So here we can see here in this particular region, there is a clock is rising and this is a particular rise time, and there is a clock is falling, it is a fall time. So basically in this region the clock is invalid, whereas here in the output is invalid. So this is particular delay caused due to this particular invalid inputs, and the outputs are called as the contamination delay. So next is the setup time and the hold time. So these two delays plays very important role into the sequential circuit designing, and we have to take care of this particular setup time and the hold time delays, because if we don't care this particular setup time, the hold time, and applied the data inputs and didn't care about this clock transition, and then maybe the possibility that the circuit output will go into the high impedance state, which is not expected. So we have to take care about this particular setup time and the hold time. So you can see here a setup time is a phenomenon which deals with this pre-clock transition, whereas the hold time, it is the phenomenon which deals with the post-clock transition. So I'm showing you this particular clock transition is from logic 0 to logic 1. This time instance set 100 nanosecond. The clock is toggling at this particular 100 nanosecond, and the setup time and the hold time are both 10 nanoseconds respectively. So a setup time, it is a time required before this clock transition at which the inputs data must be stable in order to get the stable output. So if we want to require this particular output must be stable, and as we expected, we must apply this particular input data constant before this setup time period, before this clock transition. So simpler way, suppose this is particular 100 nanoseconds the clock is toggling, and the setup time is of the 10 nanoseconds. So at this particular 90 nanosecond of the time, the input data must be constant. It can be either logic 0 or the logic 1, it can be anything, but it must be constant. It should not be toggling. So before 90 nanoseconds, it can be anything. It can be toggled the numerous times from this logic 0 to 1 or vice versa. But in the time duration from this 90 nanoseconds to the 100 nanosecond, it is the duration of the setup time, the input must be constant in order to get a stable output. So this is particular called as a setup time. Second thing, it is a hold time. Hold time is a thing which deals, as I told, it deals with the post clock transition. So again, we consider this particular period is 10 nanoseconds. So here we require that again, in order to get the stable output in this particular hold time, the input again must be constant. Like from this 100 nanosecond to 110 nanoseconds, the input must be constant. It can be either 0 or it can be 1, but it should not be toggling in nature. If it is a toggling in nature, then there must be the possibility that we didn't get the output that we are expected, or the circuit will go into the high impedance state. So this is about the setup time, the hold time, and the designer must take care of this particular setup time and the hold time and apply this particular inputs and to the clocks accordingly. Next thing is a skew time. So I am showing you the circuit which consists of 4 flip-flop, 1, 2, 3, 4. The inputs are applying from this here, and there is a synchronous circuit, synchronous resistor in which a single clock is applied to this all flip-flops. But see here, a clock it is nearer to this particular flip-flop 2, and there will be the length of the silicon. There is a wire of the silicon between this particular flip-flop 3, 2 and 1, and suppose we apply this particular voltage input here. That's a logic 1 and logic 0, which is toggling in nature, which produce a clock. So due to this particular distance between this point to this point, there will be the delay is caused in between the length of this wire, so which is called as a skew time. And it is generally denoted by a buffer. So Suppose this particular buffer which is caused due to this length, which is the 5 nanosecond. So suppose the clock is toggling. Clock 4 is directly connected to this particular clock in flip-flop 4 is directly connected to this particular clock. So actual expected that the particular all flip-flops should toggle at this particular 10 nanosecond, but the skew of the 5 nanosecond, the clock 3 will toggle at this plus 5 will be 15 nanosecond, clock 2 plus 5 it will be 20 nanosecond, plus 5 for this clock 1 it will be 25 nanoseconds. So as this is a synchronous circuit, we always expect that this particular all clocks should toggle at this particular 10 nanosecond, but it is 10 nanosecond, 15, 20 and 25, which is not expected in the circuit, and the circuit is no more synchronous like the all clocks are toggling at this particular different time instances. So this phenomenon is called as skew time. It must be avoided into the designing. So last, it is the maximum propagation delay. So basically I am showing here the propagation, consider this particular path from this point to this skew, nextly the flip-flop 1 combinational path, flip-flop 2 and again to this point. So I am trying to find out the maximum clock that can be applied to this particular path. So the equation will be the maximum clock period that can be applied into this particular path, flip-flop 1 to flip-flop 2, will be this first propagation delay of this particular flip-flop 2. Nextly, it added with this combinational delay. The combinational delay are it's the propagation delay of this particular combination logic, which are always considered as the critical path delay, not the shortest path. It's always considered to be the critical path delay, which is also called as a combinational path propagation delay. So it's added. Next, in the setup time of this flip-flop 2, just we have seen what do you mean the setup time. Nextly, we add the skew time of this particular flip-flop 2, and it gets subtracted from this particular skew time of the flip-flop 1. So basically, this is particular equation to find out the clock period that can be applied to particular path 1, flip-flop 1 to flip-flop 2. So again, I am showing you the maximum the clock period that can be applied to this particular path, flip-flop 2 to flip-flop 1. So I am showing you the path from this point to this particular skew, then clock, then flip-flop 2, then again combination logic, then flip-flop 3 and again to this particular point. So same equation I am showing here. So this particular a single part delay, I am showing here the single part delay from this 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and the maximum clock will be applied to this particular entire circuit so that it will behave as a normal and gives the expected output will be the maximum value of this clock period, which into this all possible combinational paths. So it can be from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, it can be 1 to 4, 2 to 4, 3 to 4, all number of the combinations we have to compute. We have to find out the propagation delay from this each part and find out the maximum value among from this all, and that value will be the clock period that can be applied for this particular particular circuit. And if we take the inverse of that particular thing, we get the maximum clock frequency that can be applied from this entire circuit in order to get the expected outputs, and the circuit has to be work into the stable condition. So that's it for today. And this particular delays, please, as I told at the starting, these delays plays very important role into the every design, and a designer should always concentrate such kind of design which gives a minimum numbers of this particular delay in order of the nanoseconds or in order of the picoseconds, but the delay must be as small as possible as they increases the speed and the performance of the circuit. So that's it for today. I hope you get the all concepts of this particular delays. So if you find something interesting here, don't forget to hit the like button. If you have any queries, let me know into the comment section. You can connect with me from this particular link, LinkedIn and the mail links. So thank you for the listening, and I will see you in the next Sunday.